You know what really sucks? Not owning what you pay for. Isn't it kind of weird how we all, as a society, decided that the convenience of a monthly service was somehow better than the reliability of actually owning the thing? Like, you probably have a favorite musician. When was the last time you bought their music? When's the last time you bought a movie with your favorite actor in it? Realistically, you probably streamed either of them, and you'll probably keep doing that. Until, of course, Spotify or Apple or Netflix or Disney or Hulu or HBO or YouTube Music or Tidal or any of these services decide that the licensing fees for the thing you like aren't worth it anymore. And then it's gone. Poof. Or maybe your artist signs an exclusive contract and now you need to pay for another service. Or they just say, all right, see ya. And then, yeah, what if I told you that the solution is very, very simple? And it wasn't exactly that long ago we were already doing exactly this. Except with time, despite it falling out of fashion, it's actually gotten easier than ever before. I'm gonna spare you a history lecture on CDs and MP3s. You probably don't care anyway. You just like music and you're sick of Spotify. So what I want to do here in this video is break down a very straightforward way to acquire music that you can keep for yourself forever. How to keep it organized, how to keep your collection safe, how to carry it with you wherever you go. Let's get to it. The first step to any collection is to, well, start collecting. And how do you do that? There's a few ways. Some less honorable than others, but we do live in a society. Personally, I love hitting up local thrift shops. There's some in my city where every time I go in, I just know I can grab a few banger CD for just a couple bucks. This is also a great opportunity to take a gamble on some music you've never heard of before. Maybe you see something that looks interesting. A lot of thrift shops will have a little listening station nearby for CDs and cassettes and vinyls. Pop one in and see if you like it. There is also digital. iTunes, for instance, which, yeah, that still exists actually, offers DRM-free music, so you can buy a song for as little as 99 cents a pop, or an entire album at about $10. These are downloaded straight to your computer, no fuzz or restrictions, as 256 kilobit per second M4A files. If that looks odd to you, don't worry, it'll play fine in pretty much everything. M4A is just a so-called container, just like MP3. If you imagine a glass as a container, the liquid inside is the format. This M4A glass contains a juicy AAC music stream, which is a better audio codec than this glass of MP3 water. That made sense, right? Do I look like a fucking audio technician? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter. We're getting off track. Off track. Anyway, if you really want to push that quality bar, you'll want to look at sites like Bandcamp, where you can usually get stuff in lossless quality, and the artists get a bigger slice of the pie. Either that, or you should try to find CDs and move on to the next step. If you're worried about costs racking up, I want you to post the long-term gains here, because Spotify demands $12 a month from you, and that's indefinite. And assuming they don't raise prices. Bruh. $144 a year, and over 5 years, that's $720 for a service that could get stripped from you at any moment's notice. Hell, if your financial situation changes, which it has for a lot of us, you might have to reconsider paying for these things at all. But this they can't take from you. It's yours forever. Or until the disc rot sets in. But that's why we make backups, baby! Well, boy howdy, your collection is starting to show some potential. Not only do you have some awesome discs you can put in a bookshelf and be proud about, I might have a problem. But maybe you have some downloads ready in that download folder. Let's talk about those discs first though. Though if you're going the digital download route, then you can skip this next step. Alright, what you'll need here is a CD-DVD reader. These can be a bit tricky to find these days, and I really just mean because nothing comes with them built in anymore. So your best bet is going to be finding an external USB one. Mind you, you don't need anything fancy. Something cheap with good reviews off of Amazon or just perusing eBay or Facebook Marketplace is going to find you something that will do more than do the trick. Now, I'm going to say something really controversial here for a second for all my fellow audiophiles. iTunes and Apple Music are fine. No, look, hear me out. This video isn't for you. You already know this stuff, but if you're a casual listener, or even just a little above casual, all you need is a straightforward, simple process to acquire your music, organize it, and put it on other devices. iTunes and Apple Music does exactly that. There are better options. Foobar, DB Power Amp, EAC, I know. But for anything else, for the average person, Apple was king of the simplification of this process for a long time for a reason. Pop your CD in the tray, fire up iTunes, if you're on Windows, or Apple Music, if you're on a Mac, and bam, there's your CD. If all went well, it should even identify it correctly and let you pick the correct version. I recommend tweaking the import settings before doing anything else. Set it to lossless ALAC, and hit the go button. This process can take a second, so go grab a cup of tea, and when you get back, you should have your imported CD. Right-click it and fetch album artwork, and you're done. If Apple can't find it, usually you just have to go on Google for a few seconds, and you'll find it anyway. There! Congrats! Ain't that nice and clean? So now you know how to rip a CD. As I mentioned, there's other ways to do that. One real good piece of software is EAC. I use this pretty religiously to make sure I get clean and verifiable rips. That is also because I'm a massive dork. But say you don't rip CDs. Say you get your music files from other means, like Bandcamp. Stop looking at me like that. You now have some files on your PC. Well, if you're sticking with Apple Music, you can pretty much, usually, just drag and drop these into that, and you should be good to go. Unless they're FLACs, because Apple hates open source. You'll need to convert them to ALAC for Apple Music to understand them, and for that there's a nifty tool called Media Human Audio Converter. Just drag and drop in here, and select ALAC, then drag those into Apple Music, and Bob's your flippin' uncle. You're good to go. Now, in Apple Music, you can just right-click any album or any artist and tweak the information or metadata directly. So if you're like me and you hate when albums are called 2015 Remastered and whatnot, you can just get rid of that. Yes, I understand that they're different from the originals. Point is that it looks weird and ugly. As you've imported stuff, Apple Music is pretty good at sorting your files for you as well. Usually, this will be in whatever dedicated music folder you have on your computer. Then, music, and music again. The fuck, Apple? Anyway, there's all your stuff, nicely sorted into folders. Easily accessible. Easily backupable. So, not all is sunshine and daisies with having a personal music library. You are always at risk of losing it if you aren't careful. That's why Spotify and their ilk is so appreciated. You never have to worry about carrying music around or making sure it's backed up, which is something you'll need to do. Generally, though, this isn't hard. You could easily grab a cheap external drive and toss on there and call it a day. But we also live in a time where cloud storage is cheap and plentiful. 2 terabytes of Google Drive or iCloud storage is $11 a month, and unlike paying $10 a month for Spotify, you get a whole lot more out of that cloud storage. Backups are important, whether it's music, documents, or precious photo memory. So that's $10 that will be far more worth it in the grand scheme. Ideally, if you're real keen on keeping your data safe, you'll keep what's called a 3-2-1 backup. That means 1 local, 1 active, and 1 remote. That means your PC with the music on it, an external drive, and, in this case, cloud storage. Now, having your music on your computer is nice and all, but what about going outside? I know it's scary, but it happens. Well, this is pretty straightforward too. If you're on an iPhone, you already have Apple Music right there. Just hook up, set up your sync options, and wait, and that's it. All that music is now in your Apple Music app on your phone. Easy peasy. Android's a bit more involved, but no different from copy-pasting your music folder into your phone when it's connected, then using whichever music app you prefer. I recommend Power Amp or Foobar for this. Then there you go. You are now carrying your music with you everywhere. Running low on storage? Pop a micro SD card in there and Right, I forget. Well, luckily for iPhones, Apple Music come with an automatic quality conversion setting when syncing, so you can reduce the storage your music takes by converting to a different format on the fly. Generally, that difference between 256 AAC and FLAC isn't going to matter much to the average listener, and if you're using AirPods or some other wireless headphones, it really won't matter because wireless headphones can't do lossless anyway. Unless it's Sony. But Mei, I need people to know that I'm listening to my favorite artists right now. I hear you. Seeing someone on Discord listen to music and having a track record of what you've listened to is neat, and is a window into what they like. Luckily, you can do that. There is no shortage of ways to use Discord-rich presence to display what you're listening to. For Apple Music in particular, there's an app right here. There's similar tools for all kinds of listening apps, like Fubar. But Mei, I love Spotify Wrapped. I need to know that I was number 69 top listener to my favorite artist at the end of the year. Okay, I mean, Last.fm's been doing that shit for like 2 decades, and their listener history is actually more accurate because it takes into the account the entirety of December. So go make an account, get yourself the Scrobbler app on your PC and phone, and bada bing bada boom, you've got a public, constantly updated listening history. And end of the year, you get their playback statistics, and it tells you exactly, both globally and among your friends, who listened to Kendrick Lamar the most. Zoe. But Mei, how am I supposed to discover new music if I don't get my weekly algorithmic curated feed spoon-fed to me by— Have you tried talking to your friends? And maybe asking them what they like? You should try it, because when you do, you'll see a fire light up in their eyes, and they'll get all excited, like, there's this artist, and I love them, and I love what they make, and this album is really good, and I think you really like this, and because they know you, and they get excited, and share something, and they're passionate about it with you, their buddy, their pal, their friend. Hey, Editing Bay Mei here. Last.fm actually has a discovery system too, both for music you listen to and your friends. And on that note, the discovery algorithm Last.fm uses is literally the same one Spotify uses. How do I know that? A fucking ex-Last.fm engineer told me to my face, so just use Last.fm. Okay, back to the video. Genuinely, I think that's one thing we lost with curated feeds. We lost organically finding music from your friends. It's all just drip-fed to you with an algorithm. Like, I love hearing my friends go on passionate rambles about what they listen to. Music is one of the most human things we have, and it's a cultural connector like none other. Use it. And look, that's kind of where I want to wrap this up. Gods know I yapped for a while. The point of this whole video is both to tell people that there are other ways to enjoy, discover, and track your music. You don't have to be tied down to a service. In the long run, you save money, and you get to keep something, you get to build something to show off to friends, and to decorate your place with. Put your favorite albums on display. Go through the routine of popping a CD in a stereo. The slippery slope here is, of course, vinyls, and there's so many fun other ways to listen to music, like iPods, and minidisc, and cassettes. Maybe I'll make a whole video on just that. But the end thing here is that by doing this, you are not only building a collection and keeping what you love with you forever, it's being conscious about your music listening. There was a time when an album would have a purpose to be listened to all the way through. We kind of lost that with the song at a time culture. So go do that. Gather some tunes, listen to it all the way through. Music is cool. Thanks for listening to this long-winded ramble. This is my first time making a video like this, but I'd love to make more. So leave some thoughts down in the comments and call me an idiot for recommending Apple Music at a centerpiece of software. Maybe I'll make a part 2 where I delve into EAC and Fubar, which is what I use myself. I also host a Plex server and use Plexamp for my music listening over the cloud, and better yet, I have this nifty Walkman WM306A, which is a DAP, a DAP, a digital audio player. If you like this, please subby wubby, ding the clock, join my Discord, and follow me on Blue Sky. I'd like to shitpost random thoughts and projects. I've got a lot of stuff planned for this year, 2025. It's gonna be a good one. I'll fucking make sure of that.